She's a private chef. She's a mom of 3, and she's the founder of an amazing meal prep subscription service called Prep and Rally. She's a tastemaker for Tastemade. Chef Dini has worked with top brands like Walmart, like Starbucks, like Weight Watchers, and her recipes have actually been featured and published in so many cookbooks. Please join me right now in welcoming Chef Dini Klein.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Friday. I'm so excited to be here. I've been doing a bunch of these Zoom demos, and I find it's really fun and interactive, even though it's not in person. So we're still bringing it. We're still having fun. And I'm really excited to show you guys what to do with either store-bought rotisserie chicken or leftover chicken that you have in the fridge during the week from chicken soup. You should never throw it out. There's always what to do with it. Again, I have a family meal prep service called Prep and Rally, and it's about meal prepping through the week to make things really simple and easy. So you prep on Sunday, it's staples for the week. So it's like a chicken, a quinoa, a broccoli, a great sauce or two, and then you store it all in your fridge on Sunday, and Monday through Thursday, you're simply assembling those into creative ways. So many times we're making a chicken on Sunday, a double batch of chicken or 2 whole roasted chickens. One day you're going to have it as a chicken egg roll. The next day you're having it in a grain bowl. So there are always lots of different ways that I like to repurpose the same item because you save money because you're only buying one thing, but you're using it in multiple ways. You're getting creative, you're saving a ton of time, and your sanity. I always say you save time, money, and sanity. So you can check out more of that at prepandrally.com. I'm all over Instagram at prepandrally. Always showing all my tips and tricks. So today, I'm going to be showing you how to take a store-bought rotisserie chicken. We're going to show you how to cut it open. Hopefully it won't get too messy and it'll be fine. You guys are going to love it because I get many questions about how to actually cut apart the chicken properly. So we'll do that for you. And then we're going to make a really yummy chicken salad, classic, but we are going totally different with it. You're going to love the flavors. And then we're going to be making some chicken egg rolls because that is one of my favorite things to do with any leftover. And then a grain bowl. All right. If any questions, throw it in the comments and we're going to take some time for the questions at the end. All right. All right, let's get started. Amazing. So we have a store-bought rotisserie chicken. And even though I like cooking, there's something about a store-bought rotisserie chicken that is so good. Like I was just nibbling on chicken last night. I bought 3 of them. And most grocery stores have them. If you're kosher, you have to go to a specific grocery store that offers the kosher ones, but they're really phenomenal. And if you don't have that much time, or if you want a shortcut or cheat a little bit, buying a store-bought rotisserie chicken is so great to do. It's like $10 for the whole thing. And it makes your life a lot easier and saves even more time. So usually they come with like a string around it. They truss the chicken and that kind of holds it together. It holds all those juices in. So you're going to want to remove that first. Okay. And you can just cut a little bit if it's not coming off. And then I'm going to show you how we actually cut this apart and use it in many ways. All right. So the string, obviously, you throw away. All right. Next up, we have a little chicken here. You want to cut in, this is the front of the chicken, these 2 sides where the legs join the body. That's where you kind of go to slit into. And you'll find that things really cut where they're supposed to. So right here, if you guys could see it, I know this is like a little intense, but it's really good to know how to do it. All right, so I go like that, and then I put it face down and just cut around the thigh so you get that right there. Okay, then, so you see we've removed that. It's kind of hard to show on the camera, but see, hold it, flip it, follow along that line, and you'll see it cuts really easily. You're not going to be doing too much here. You're really just like very gently with your knife and you're kind of pushing it back to where it naturally comes apart. You should be able to cut a chicken really without a knife if it's cooked properly. All right, so then you're left with this. Okay, so we're obviously going to cut the chicken breast. So you're going to cut right in the center. There's like this kind of like a bone right in the center. So you want to cut on either side of that bone. And then you kind of take your knife and you go over to the side. And again, you're not really like cutting much. You're more just pulling where it's supposed to separate. You see that? And then you're just kind of gently with your knife guiding it where it's supposed to come off. So then you have 1 chicken breast there. And then you're gonna go on the other side of this bone right here. And I'm doing it backwards. Okay, and then you're just gonna pull it. And don't ever throw away the rest of this chicken because you could make an amazing chicken soup with it. Okay, so we have 1, 2, we have these pieces here, and if you want, you could cut them, again, to slice this part in half, you just pull the leg and then it falls apart where it's supposed to, where the joint kind of like naturally separates. Okay, same with this one. See, it really falls apart. It's really so much easier than you think. It's kind of intimidating looking, but it's simpler than it looks. And then we have the wings. You could take that, just like also, again, pull it a little bit and just gently with your knife until it comes off where it's supposed to. And then all of this, stick in a pot with your chicken soup. It is so flavorful. There's so much there. And it gives amazing flavor because it's been cooking for so long. So it will really enhance the way your chicken soup tastes. Trust me, and make stock with it. It's delicious. Okay, now that we're done with that part, which is like a little bit intense, I know. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick and I'll show you guys how we make this chicken salad. All right. And as you see, I use 2 different cutting boards because whenever I'm cutting any kind of chicken, I always like to use a separate cutting board designated for chicken and meat. And then I have a cleaner cutting board that I use for veggies. Okay. So, all right, is everyone still okay? You guys still with me? I love demonstrating that. Okay, so I already have some chicken that I shredded. So basically this, I took the chicken breast, I took off the skin, and then I just kind of with my hands, I just shredded the chicken. You could also do it with 2 forks. You could chop it finely on your cutting board with a knife if you prefer. It's totally up to you how you want your chicken salad to be. But I love the chicken salad because it's just super bright and airy. We're gonna put lots of lemon in it, capers, okay? So let's just get right into it because this is such a goodie. All right, capers right here. Capers are like one of my favorite ingredients. It's almost like a pickle in a way. It's like this briny, really yummy flavor. You get little pops of it as you eat your chicken salad. I love it. It has really, really good flavor. Mayonnaise, of course. I don't put too much, and sometimes I'll even do olive oil instead of mayo. So if you want to modify, you can completely do that. Even with egg salad, I never put mayo in my egg salad. A lot of times I'll just do olive oil, like salt, pepper, some chives. So you can always modify depending on your diet and what you're into. I'm all about being able to modify to make it work for you. All right, and then we have sun-dried tomatoes, which is another favorite ingredient of mine because they are super duper flavorful. I like to buy the ones that are packed in oil because this oil right here, okay, look at this, first of all, you see that red oil, so incredibly flavorful. And even when you're done with the bottle of sun-dried tomatoes, I keep that oil because that is the most flavorful oil you will ever find. So I keep that in my fridge and I use it when I'm making a chicken or sauteing things. I just love the flavor it gives, and there's no need to throw that out. There's like so much flavor packed in that oil. So I'm just giving this a rough chop. Okay. You could definitely use the dry ones, a little bit easier to find. They're more of like a chewy texture. These are a little bit softer. And this also gives an extra boost of flavor with that oil. Look at that. You see that red oil? So nice. And it's just so flavorful. I'm obsessed with it. All right, to this, we're going to add some fresh parsley. Also just really nice, bright and fresh, so especially when you're using leftovers. So if you're using a leftover chicken or using a rotisserie chicken, all these things that we're doing are just waking up those flavors and just making it new again, making it taste really fresh and vibrant. Same with like when you're making a stew or a soup, it's really, really good to finish your dish with a fresh squeeze of lemon or some fresh herbs, because it helps us wake up something that's just been cooking for a really long time, but it just like doesn't have as much flavor anymore. It makes it new and fresh and exciting. So fresh parsley right on in there. Okay. We are going to season this with a little bit of salt and pepper, of course. And remember, your chicken already has some flavor in it from roasting, so we're really just kind of blending everything together. This is supposed to be pepper, but it's back of the yards, garlic butcher's rub. Meant to get pepper. That should be pepper. But you could put any spices you like in here. You could put paprika if you like. You could do, this is garlic powder if you wanted to do onion powder. So we have all the exact recipe written down for you all, but you could really improvise depending on what you have. If you like olives, throw olives in here. You could really get very creative when it comes to a chicken salad. And lastly, lemon. As I mentioned, the freshness of lemon, it really works here. And you can also make this chicken salad with fish. So if you were to have leftover halibut, let's say from dinner, you could flake it. Same thing goes for salmon, and do the same exact recipe. Put a little bit of mayo in there, put some lemon, herbs, and it makes it so delicious. And you could serve this on a cracker. You can serve it on toast, in a sandwich. It's totally your call how you want to have this. It's amazing anyway, I think. So we're just squeezing our lemon in here. And I always just hold my hand. People are always like, why are you holding your hand like that? But I hold it here so that I could catch all the seeds in my fingers. So it's a cool little trick. All right, so we're just squeezing the lemon. And depending on how big your lemons are and how lemony you like it, again, adjust it. Taste it after one lemon. If you like it more lemony, you could add more. I also did like half a recipe for this, so I'm not gonna add my second lemon, but look how gorgeous those colors are. It is so delicious, super, super flavorful. You have all those pops of flavor from the capers and the sun-dried tomatoes. You guys are gonna love it. So I highly recommend you try this recipe. It's delicious. And it's the perfect way to repurpose your leftovers. So again, you could serve it in a sandwich, on toast, or you can even just bring it out for like a little snack or an appetizer or a game day snack, whatever you want to have it for. It's really nice, and the colors in there are super pretty. Check it out. Isn't that nice? So you can just put any kind of crackers that you like and serve it up. All right, so next up, I'm going to show you how we make the egg rolls. So egg rolls make an appearance in my prep and rally menus very often. I always keep egg roll wrappers in my freezer because they are super versatile. You can go sweet or savory with them. I've done like banana egg rolls before. It's like a caramel. You can really like make a fun dessert inside an egg roll wrapper. But what I love about it is that any leftovers from the week, like chicken, or if you leftover ground meat, or if you leftover steak, you could chop it up. If you check out my Instagram stories at Prep and Rally, you'll see what I actually did last night. I had leftover tofu. I used some of this chicken, and I had leftover roasted broccoli, portobello mushrooms, and peppers. And I chopped it up all together, and I made little wontons, and I baked them in the oven. I sprayed it similar to how I'm going to show you here. And we had an amazing, delicious dinner. These little individual wonton bites. My kids loved them. They were crispy, crunchy. Inside, they were getting the protein. They had the starch from the actual wrapper, and there was loaded veggies inside. So it's a really great way to get rid of leftovers and also just make a great, fun dinner that the whole family will love. So I'll show you how I make them because it sounds a little intimidating making egg rolls, but it's actually crazy simple. So these are egg roll wrappers. You can get them at your grocery store. I think the Nasoya brand, I'm pretty sure that's the name of the brand. They make the full egg roll wrapper size, and they also make wonton wrappers, which are smaller. It's like a quarter of the size, which are the ones I used last night. They're much smaller. The big ones obviously are faster because you could just, roll a lot more filling in it at a time. And each person only gets like 1 or 2, as opposed to the wontons, each person will have like 5 or 6. So it just takes less time. So if you are in a hurry, opt for egg roll wrappers instead of the wonton wrappers. Now, you have a blank canvas here. Like chicken, you could do absolutely anything with, which is like why it's one of my favorite ingredients. Same with tofu. You could do anything you want with it. I'm going barbecue today. But again, you could season this any way you want. If you wanted to make them kind of like Asian style, by all means, you could put soy sauce, a little sesame oil. You could put some ginger, garlic in there, and then roll them up, and you'll have a really super flavorful egg roll. So I'm going barbecue today. So I just put a little bit of regular barbecue sauce into the chicken, give it a little mix around so it introduces a whole new flavor. And you just take a little bit of the filling. You want to add some veggies in here, again, go crazy. You just don't want it to be too wet of a filling. Otherwise, they're not going to get so crisp and they're going to be harder to roll. You just don't want it to be too wet. But here, see how we have the chicken with the barbecue sauce. So all I'm doing now to roll it, you take you hold, like kind of face it so it's like a diamond shape. You take the bottommost corner, lift it up and over, and you kind of tuck it under the filling like that. Okay. Then you take one side, fold it over, take the other side, fold it over, and then you just keep rolling it. And when you get to the top here, I have a little dish of water. You just dab it at the end. That kind of acts like your glue. And there you have a cute little egg rollie. And it literally takes seconds. You can get your kids involved and have them help make them because it's super fun. But it really doesn't take long. Like, it sounds super intimidating. I know it does, but it's really a fun dinner. Kids love it. If you want to just make like a batch of rice to go along with it, you can do that. You could steam some broccoli. And I usually make a great dipping sauce that's super easy. I take soy sauce, a little sesame oil, and duck sauce. You mix it all together. Not duck sauce, sorry, apricot jam. Either you could just dunk it in a duck sauce, or you could take soy sauce, sesame oil, and apricot jam. You mix those 3 ingredients together, and it's like the most delicious dunking sauce for an egg roll. So you could try that out. This is like my family's favorite dinner ever. So it's definitely, I'm starting to write a cookbook, and it's definitely going to be in there for sure. Egg rolls, because it's like really a staple in our house. Check it out. So hard holding things for the camera. There we go. See them? All right, so now to cook them, I usually set my oven to 425 degrees. You want it nice and hot so they get crispy. I'll take some sort of like pan or spray oil. And I first spray the sheet pan so that the undersides get crispy as well as the top. Place them down. And then I spray the tops as well. So there's no frying involved here. There's no crazy amounts of oil or standing over a hot pot of bubbling oil. You literally just take this, you throw it in the oven, and you go about your day because dinner is done. And you just repurposed your leftovers. So that is how you make egg rolls. And again, those are just so, so fun. I'm really in love with egg rolls. I've been making them for years. I used to make them for clients as a private chef, and everyone just always loves them. There's something about like a crispy, crunchy little package, and you don't know what's on the inside. It's just a little surprise, and kids really enjoy them. So whenever you could please both kids and adults all in one shot, that's where it's at. So all of my menus on Prep and Rally are meant to be for the entire family. So, you know, some of them may be a little more sophisticated, some a little more kiddie, but we always give modifications and ways to make it work for everyone, because no one should ever be a short order chef. I never want anyone making 5 different dinners for each person in their family. Can we all relate? I mean, right? I feel like every mom has to like make a million dinners every night. But what I really want to do is teach people how to modify to make things work for everyone, which is why I do a lot of DIY, build your own kind of nights, whether it's build your own taco, build your own burrito, because this way you have everything prepared, but the whole family gets to really pick and choose what they want to put in their dish. So they're choosing, even though you've chosen the dinner for them, they feel like they're having a say and choosing what they want to put on their plate or in their bowl or stick in their pita. So it really works. So if you have any picky eaters or if you're having trouble feeding your kids, highly recommend trying, you know, DIY kind of night. Build your own pizzas, you know, making things little individual ramekins. So that's the question I get most, I would say. You know, those are the emails that come in. I get questions on Instagram all the time. It's like, I have picky kids. How do I feed my kids? It's so stressful. And I've really done this system for my kids for years. It's all they know. They're constantly trying new flavors. And because of that, they're more open to trying new things. And yeah, it works. And they become amazing eaters because of it. So, all right, so here we go. Last item that we're going to make today using our leftover chicken is a grain bowl. And grain bowls also make many appearances on my Prep and Rally menus because they just repurpose little bits of leftovers from your fridge into a whole new dish. So here I have quinoa, as some of the leftover chicken. So you just throw those in a bowl and then you go to your fridge and you say, hey, what else do I have that I could throw in here? I had a little bit of cucumber, I had a few radishes left, and I actually had a dressing from the beginning of the week. So I was like, you know what, let me just use this. It's actually a almond butter, soy sauce, sesame oil. It's also kind of Asian-y. Usually I have tahina in it, but I didn't have tahina, so I actually used almond butter, and it's one of my favorite dressings. Super good. So it's on Prep and Rally as well, and the archives for members. It's really good. So here we go. So we have the quinoa, the chicken. I'll just cut a cucumber, and green bowls. Again, you could do anything you like with it. And that's what's fun with it, is everyone could really build their own. You could use up whatever you have in your fridge. We do a lot of poke bowls in my family where I'll just steam the rice. I'll make some tofu, or I'll cook some salmon. I usually don't do the raw fish for the kids, so I'll usually cook salmon. Everyone can kind of put in whatever they like, and they get to choose. So I have some cukes I just put in there, and then you could do some radishes. So I'm all about just giving new life to foods that you may just be bored of, because I feel like once you have something, you just don't want to look at it anymore. Once you've eaten it once or maybe twice already. So getting people to think in this like kind of prep and rally mindset, that's really what I'm all about, is just getting you to think creatively. And I have an art background. I started in fashion, so I always kind of love that, the creative brain, and being able to think about what else you could do with something mundane and common to make it different and unique. So here we go. So we have our radishes, we got our cucumbers, we got our chicken, and you can just top it with any sauce you have. You can get a store-bought dressing, you can make one. Prep and Rally is all about the sauces. So usually at the start of each week, we'll make one or two, either a pesto or a sauce, which can also be a marinade, because then you have a great sauce in your fridge all week long. So even if you want to just make a last minute lunch, you could throw together a quick green bowl, or you can make an amazing salad, and it's exciting to eat it because you have a great dressing to go with it. Otherwise, sometimes salads can just be boring. So yeah, so there's your grain bowl for you. So we did the grain bowl, we did our chicken salad, and then of course we have those egg rolls, which all we got to do is bake them until they're golden and crispy. I bake them at 425 for about like 25 or 30 minutes until they're golden and crisp. So just keep an eye on them when they're cooking. It'll be so good. The filling is already prepared, so you're just really waiting for the exterior to get golden and beautiful. All right, how is that, you guys? You all gonna use up your leftover chicken? I really hope it. I hope you guys think twice when you look at your fridge and you say, you know what, I'm so sick of looking at this. I want to throw it away. I'm just done with it. Let's get rid of it. And then you'll be like, no, I remember Dini showed me a great recipe to use. So hope you guys remember that. Use the recipes and be in touch. Come check me out at Prep and Rally. Lots of stuff on there. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing Friday. We're going to open up for questions now. So if anyone has any questions, Adrienne will help me kind of moderate these.
Yeah, Dini, darling, there's a lot of questions. I'm going to begin with the first one. How long is a rotisserie chicken good for after you bring it home from the store?
So they say chicken and meat, 3 to 5 days is ideal. Technically, you have like 7 days until it's considered unsafe to eat, but I always recommend eating it between 3 to 5 days.
Okay, now if you're eating it, if you're heating it, does heating it say, bring it, lengthen its life, so to speak?
Heat it, lengthen the life, I mean? What do you mean?
I mean, if you eat it raw, I mean, if it's been in the fridge, but if you cook it up hot,
yeah.
Or you're baking it in an egg roll, does that lengthen the life of the chicken? I mean, can it, or does
no, if anything, I would say it makes it drier, and it almost like, you don't want to cook it too much, then it just kind of ruins the texture. So I would say if you aren't planning on eating the whole thing, only heat up half of it.
Okay.
When you are going to eat, because kind of like on Shabbat as well, if you heat everything up on Friday night and you're heating it up again during the day, it tends to get dry and it doesn't last as long.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Next question. So what about the carcass to make a soup with? What do you do?
Yeah, so whenever I'm making a chicken soup, I'll still use my regular uncooked chicken. I'll throw everything in there. But I just add that in as an additional element, and it gives amazing flavors. You just throw the carcass right in as you're starting to make your soup, and just keep it in there the whole time, and then just strain the whole chicken soup when you're done.
And can you make like a bone broth or just a stock out of the actual carcass by not adding anything?
Exactly, 100%. Throw it in with water, bring it up to a boil, and then just a very, very, very low simmer for a really long time. So it really releases all of those flavors and obviously the health benefits from the bone broth.
Okay. What other grains beside quinoa can you use?
Anything. I mean, I'm a big quinoa person. My kids even love it. You could do rice, you could do bulgur, any grain you like. Really, farro is such a great option. It's super healthy. It has a nice chewy texture.
What
Um,
is farro? What is farro?
it's so good. An ancient grain, they call it. It's packed with tons of flavor, tons of protein. It's really, really good for you. So yeah, what's great about quinoa is like the gluten-free. If you are gluten-free, it works for you. It's a little lighter. So yeah, so I love quinoa, but really any grain you like. You can make couscous. It's totally up to you.
Now, when you prepare tofu, for example, in lieu of chicken, if you're vegetarian, for example, would the same flavors and combinations work just as well with tofu? And do you fry tofu or do you bake it?
Okay, good question. So the tofu, I used to fry it for clients back in the day, and it just makes oil everywhere. The clients liked it fried better. My kids really love it. Just roast it in the oven. It's easier for me. You don't have to stand there over the pot. There's no oil spraying everywhere. So what I do is I just put it on a baking sheet with parchment paper, little oil, salt. That's like the way my kids love it. Just very simple, salt and oil. And I roast it again like 425 until it's super golden and crispy. And I cut it into tiny little cubes. So you have like a lot of surface area. And it gets really crispy, crunchy, and delicious. My kids are like addicted to it. We all love it.
Somebody
Yeah.
asked if you could reiterate what you put in that dressing, that old dressing that you used.
Yes. So this was, I have the exact recipe. I have to think about exactly what was in it, but it was garlic powder. I know for sure. You could do fresh garlic, but I did garlic powder. It was soy sauce. I used almond butter, even though my recipe is for tahina, but you could use either one. And some sesame oil and like a drop of either maple syrup or you could do honey. I did a tiny bit of maple syrup. It's a really, really yummy combination. It's great for grain bowls. It's great for dressings. You could just make like a steak and then just pour it over it, or you could just roast a simple chicken and like serve this on the side. I'm all about like the sauces and like little toppings, because if I could just roast a bunch of simple vegetables, which is what I do for Shabbat, I call it like a roasting special. I literally just like roast everything I have on hand: broccoli, cauliflower, potatoes, chicken, and then I'll make a great sauce or two when I have time to get around to it, and it completely transforms the entire dish into something new and unique, like a gremolata, which is great, kind of like a zested lemon, herbs, salt, pepper, and garlic, and olive oil. That's like one of my favorite little toppings to put on any roasted cauliflower, any vegetable, potatoes. So good.
Okay, now sesame oil, once you've used it the first time, do you have to keep it in the fridge?
I always do. I always do. Yeah. They say nuts and seeds tend to go rancid when they're more quickly. They go rancid if they're left out at room temperature. I know a lot of people don't. I don't think you necessarily have to, but the same way they say to put nuts in the fridge or the freezer to store, it keeps them better longer.
Now, can you saute with sesame oil, or is it really more of an addition to top up a flavor?
Yeah, you don't want to use too much of it because it does have a very, very strong flavor profile. So even in a recipe, you want to just use like half a teaspoon, very little, because it really is super potent. Also, you want to make sure that you're buying toasted sesame oil, because that's the one that has all the flavor. Regular sesame oil is bland, but it's when it's toasted that has all the flavor. So,
and,
yeah.
and if I make all of these things, if I follow your directions and make all of these things, will I actually look like you at the end? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Drink the water. No, it's funny because people always ask, like, how do you stay thin? How do you stay fit? How are you able to do all these things? Like, you work and you're this and you're that and you have kids and you're constantly like, you're cleaning and you're cooking and your house looks clean and beautiful all the time. Like, how are you able to do it all? And honestly, I say it's really prep and rally. Like, I practice what I preach. I prep at the beginning of the week. All week long, I have more time for myself. I'm able to work out. I don't have to run to the grocery store 10 times a week. I have healthy food options. When I open up my fridge, I see roasted broccoli. I see a great grain bowl. I see vegetables. I see protein. I'm not just running like having a cereal bowl, because it's all that's available to me. So being ahead of it and stocked and preparing in advance is the way I do it. And I'm not even like a hyper organized person, which is weird. Like, it's so not my personality to be like so specific with what I eat, but when it comes to this, just being somewhere prepared, and then throughout the week, I can just pull stuff out as I want. And it's just a simple, easy way to go about your week.
Well, all of us in Momentum Land and beyond want to thank you. Seriously, thank you. That was a delicious tutorial, Chef Dini, and you're awesome. And more importantly, thank you to Bonnie and Gil Schwadron for your sponsorship. Actually, Dini, I think you need to go over there and drop off all the food you make so she doesn't have to cook for a few days. Although I think she's halfway across the country from you. So sorry, Bonnie, I'd do it for you if we could.